When I was asked to talk about being fearless, I thought, can I talk about being fearless? Because honestly, I'm not a fearless person. Not at all. I have so many fears. I always had. I'm even afraid of cats. Yes, cats. Then I said, yes, I can talk about it. I can talk about being hopeful, since it is what fearless means to me. And here I am. I guess my formula for dealing with fear is this. Don't try to be fearless, but fear less and hope more. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, fear is a reaction, courage is a decision. Isn't that a beautiful statement? It says fear is an instinct, something we are all wired with respond to the challenges of the world. When your response is fear, you either fight, fly, or freeze. According to Eleanor, you can't unwire an instinct, but you can put your mind into the task and make a decision to act courageous. When I reflect back to my life, I found hope as the only source for courage. To me, it was never about being fearless or not, but it was about having the hope at times I feared the most. Let me take you along to my childhood. My father passed away when I was only 2 years old. I never got to know him. My mother became the only safe haven I knew. When I was 5, on a regular Sunday morning, I lost my mom. Suddenly, unexpectedly, in an unfortunate accident. My mother, my only safe haven I knew, was taken away from me. That's life. Unpredictable and only fair in its own way. I was afraid. I was in despair. I was actually paralyzed. When you lose your loved ones at such an early age, you start to fear losing everyone around you who is dear to you. So there I was, scared to lose my siblings, scared to lose my aunt, who was the only caregiver to us, and I was scared of death, and I still scared of death. Yet, I thrived in spite of my fears, or should I say, thanks to my fears. I had a lot of time for myself back then. Days I would just stare at a TV to get a company of the characters. Eventually, one of them became my best friend, my true inspiration, and my hero. Let me introduce you Heidi. She was also a 5-year-old girl like me. She lost her family like me. She lived with her gruesome grandfather on the Alps. She didn't have much, just like me. Yet, unlike me, she was very happy, very cheerful, very positive. She was resourceful. She was helping others in need, solving problems, acting courageous. Later, I came to realize that she did all of those things because she had hope and she clung to it. There it was. I can be Heidi. In fact, I started to respond as Heidi when people asked me my name. She showed me hope, the recipe I was looking for to survive and to thrive in an unpredictable world. So what happens when you have hope? In an article at Psychology Today, written by Polly Campbell, Campbell says, hope helps us to keep going. She says, hopeful people are more likely to do things that will help them to move forward, what they are hoping for. Then other positive emotions such as courage, resilience, confidence, and happiness starts to emerge. True that, I experienced this in my life. I finally noticed my support system in the bigger family I was surrounded with. My auntie, my siblings, my teachers, my friends, and I started to focus on positives rather than focusing on my fears. That's how hope started rewiring me. When I was 7 years old, I was successful at school. My confidence was back. I was happy, like a 7-year-old girl. But I realized that there were many girls around me who were never sent to the school. It was a conservative and traditional community. These girls were never given a chance to proper education. Their responsibility was house chores and bringing income to the family by domestic work. How sad, I thought. And I started to help them. I started to teach them how to read and write. That was my biggest mission at the time. Obviously, I was trying to spread hope instinctively to others in my very own way of a 7-year-old child. Over years, my purpose in life started to be shaped with that experience. Like it is also very well put by Dr. Wayne Dyer, when you stay on purpose and refuse to be discouraged by fear, you align with the infinite self in which all possibilities exist. So years went by and I became an engineer. After school, I worked as a rocket scientist for almost 3 years in defense industry. Had my master's degree. I have a published article in a reputable academic paper. Wow, rocket scientist. All seemed great, except the idea of working in defense industry was itching me. I wasn't entirely happy. Being there and doing what I do did not felt right. I knew that I had to do something else that could connect me to people, doing things that have a positive impact to society. But that meant throwing away all I had done until that day. The school, the being an honor student, the education, the master degree, the academic paper, gone. And the fears started ticking. I was scared to restart my career from scratch. I was finding excuses not to take action. My thoughts were foggy. I was worried. I was incredibly creative in writing the worst possible future scenarios if I go to a new career. It was very logical and convincing not to do anything. But that was not Heidi. I wasn't Heidi at that moment. I needed to be hopeful to manage my fears. And I literally start listing the things I hope for by changing my career, following my dreams, and my purpose. So not so long after, I joined a multinational company in the field of marketing. Of course it was challenging. It was difficult as I was expecting. I had to unlearn and relearn things. I had to go to the extra mile to close the gap between me and my colleagues in terms of experience, in terms of skills. But it was okay because it was my choice. I was in a culture of my own choosing that fitted to my values. I was surrounded with like-minded people. I was valued and encouraged to make a difference. And all of these were flourishing my hopes for more. With my brands, every day I was touching to millions of people's lives that I did not know them in person. I was at their home, I was at their dinner tables, in their minds, at their hearts. That felt so right, so good. I discovered if used right, marketing had a transformational power. The 7-year-old me who was supporting the girls and spreading the hope had more opportunity to do more, reaching to the millions. Wow. Using the power of our brands to have positive impact to people, to communities, to planet with my colleagues was invigorating. Sometimes it was in the form of providing hygiene to schools, making toilets. Sometimes it was reducing plastic footprint. Sometimes it was helping girls building their self-confidence or leading an entire marketing industry to unstereotype communication to make the industry being more inclusive and relevant. Today, I feel like I have the privilege to contribute to what call as purposeful marketing from Africa to Middle East, from Russia to Uzbekistan to Iran. There's nothing more fulfilling when you see the positive impact of our brands make on individuals or communities. All the reasons to be courageous, resilient, hopeful, even at the darkest of times. I have so many stories about that but let me tell you one of them. I had a chat with one of our consumers 5 years back. She was 18 years old at the time, overweight for years. She hid herself from society, didn't want to go to school, didn't want to do work. She was basically locking herself at home. She was drained by the stereotypes until the day she has seen our self-esteem campaign. That was her turning point. She felt understood. She felt touched. She felt hope. And I felt hope at that moment listening to her. 2 years ago, I was offered to become general manager of my company in Iran, Caucasia, Central Asia. All untapped territories, loads of opportunities. But these are probably one of the most challenging, unpredictable, volatile geographies for any business. And it was never led by a woman. Let me tell you something about fear. Fear loves big changes. And there it was back with me in all its glory. It said, you cannot be successful in this position. It's too difficult. Stay in marketing, you're doing great. That's your comfort zone. You will be away from home and family. Why do you do that? No woman had done this job before. Maybe there is a reason. The thing about the voice of fear is sometimes it presents the most rational arguments and sometimes it can sweet talk you into anything. But then I thought, is that the story I want to tell to my daughter? Or to many other girls I happen to give career advice? Here I am today, 2 years in the role, leading the business into future in the middle of pandemic, recession, uncertainty, in the middle of fears, worries, anxiety. Yes, of course, you need the right business strategy, but more importantly, you need hope. Hope that helps you to show care, compassion, kindness to your people, keep our people employed in times of economic recession, supporting the communities, being a source of inspiration, role model to many other businesses who struggle to survive. All thanks to that magical ingredient called hope. And that's the story I want to tell to my children. The story of a 5-year-old girl, Heidi in spirit, who can walk through her fears with the antidote of hope. What I will tell them is what I'm telling you today. It's okay to have fears. Fear is a very strong feeling, and it is impossible and way too tiring to suppress it. So don't waste your energy trying to do that. Just let the light of hope tear the fears. Surround yourself with the people you love and who loves and believes in you. Keep the link between your heart and your mind in sync and alive all the times. And when in doubt, always listen your heart. When planning your career, ask yourself, what flourish your hope? Choose shared values and nourishing culture, strong ethics, and like-minded people to any financial return. Find ways to help spread and instill hope to others. Find your purpose in life. Last but not least, don't ever forget that while there is life, there is always hope. So cling on to the smallest bit of hope and don't give up. The girl in this picture is 3 years old. She was rescued after 65 hours from rumble of a building in deeply saddening recent Izmir earthquake. 65 hours of fear. Then she found the hand of her rescuer as her hope. She clung tight to that thumb, and that thumb became her hope of life. Find yours and cling on to it. And thank you for listening to me.